Good morning, everybody. We've got another exciting episode of Dad Talk today coming at you. I'm going to get this out of the way really quick because I want to make the most out of this that I can. If you're watching this today, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe and ding the bell so you get the notifications when we're going live. If you'd like to support this show, down there at the bottom, Cash App, Venmo, Patreon, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. There's super chats and memberships over on YouTube, and then same thing on Facebook. Today's guest is somebody we've had on the show before, and it's been way too long since we've been able to talk. Mr. Sharpe, how you doing today?
I thought you didn't love me anymore. You didn't talk to me no more.
No, I'll be honest with you, Larry, and I think we're going to probably have one of the realest conversations that we've ever had, man. I got burnt out. You know, I was up there in South Dakota talking to the Libertarians, and then I've been going to the Republicans and the Democrats, and it just seems like the biggest cesspool that I have ever seen in my life. It's people that virtue signal, and the problem that we have is there's just too much government inside of our lives, and I think the government is really what's created this problem inside of the family courts, and people believe that voting for those same people that are in government are going to be the answers to these issues. What's your thoughts on that?
No, look, there's a sad reason why so many politicians do not support the fathers movement at all, right? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they don't, and reasons why I do. And people always ask me, Larry, you know, what's your story, right? And I'm like, I don't have one. I didn't go through this, right? But what happened, I want to make sure your audience hears this. If you're listening, when I first heard the sad stories of what happens in family court and how dads get hammered, to be forward with you, I didn't believe it. When the first dad came to me, I thought, oh, he just probably got screwed, or he's probably a bad guy. I actually thought that, and I'm sorry to say that, but I want your audience to hear that. That's how the average person first thinks. We don't want to believe that our court system is so broken. We don't want to believe that our system is as bad as it is. We just don't want to accept it. So when you tell us this, we go, come on, not really, right? Come on. But then as I traveled the state, I kept hearing the exact same stories from different people in different counties, in different parts of the state. And I was like, my God, this is real. And then I started talking to people, judges, and they would be flippant. Then I would talk to lawyers and they would be dismissive. And I was like, okay, this is 100% real. I get it. And then I was wondering, to your point, why don't Democrats care about this? Why don't Republicans care about this? These are their constituents, aren't they? Two things. The system is set up to where no one's trying to vote for anything. They're voting against the other. So I don't look and see if my life is any better. I just go, if I'm on the right, did I own the lib? If I'm on the left, did I stop the Trumpster? Right? That's all I care about. Nothing else matters. So my life doesn't get any better. And that system is set up on purpose, the two-party system, to make sure you never get what you want. You're just always in a perpetual state of defensiveness. You need me to defend you against the other. That's piece one. But there is a worse part. And this is the part that bothers many of us. If you support the dad movement, you risk two things. One, being called misogynist, or being called, oh, you just like deadbeat dads, or you hate women. You risk that. And that's a worry if you're on the left or the right. I don't care. I get lied about anyway, so I don't really care. So it doesn't bother me. Plus, I know I'm right, and when people actually hammer me on it, I can give them actual answers and show them why I'm right. But there's a second piece, which is actually sadder. Dads who've been beaten up in the family court, they don't have any money. All their money's either gone to lawyers or it's gone to their family. They don't have any money. They're not a good donor base. That's a fact. They just aren't a good donor base. So because of that, most politicians only care about donor base. Dads who got smashed in the family court system, they're not a good donor base. Me, I'm a bad politician. I pick donor bases that aren't that good, but that's fine. I choose this because it matters to me. Because 2 points. One, as a libertarian, everybody's rights have to matter, right? Whether they're mine or not, right? I don't support the Second Amendment because I want to own a gun. I support the Second Amendment because it's our right. I support family court system reform, not because I've been through it, but because everyone should have a fair court system, which we do not have. And the last piece, which is more of a philosophical piece, I actually want to fix my state, New York, and I want to fix America. How am I going to fix my nation or my state with an army of broken men? And then behind all of those broken men are broken children. So how am I going to fix the country or the state or my city or my county when the men and the children that I need to do so are broken? I have to fix them so I can fix everything else. I know I went long. I apologize, Eric. But
oh, no. You're fine, brother. I mean,
and yeah.
And you know, I want to kind of pull back the curtain, guys, and show you what the ones that do want to do the right thing, the ones that want to fight for us, what it's like for them when they do fight for us, and how many people are there backing them up. We got a comment here on YouTube. Henry Resilient said, how can I donate when I'm paying $1,000 a month in support to my ex-wife? Larry, you're not oblivious to this. You know that our people don't have the money to be able to donate, and you need that, because if you can't get in office, unfortunately, right, guys, it's name recognition, many other things. The Republicans, Democrats are always going to be able to outspend the Libertarians. But you didn't just ask people to support your campaign with money, did you?
No, and this is the thing. I always ask for money. I'm supposed to, right? That I'm a politician. I always ask for money. But I'm not mad when some guy who's desperately trying to literally sometimes stay out of jail, right? Literally tries to have jail to pay so he doesn't go to jail. I'm not asking that guy for $100, $10. I get it. But I ask for two things, if at all possible. One, when you can support me in other ways, do so. And there are two ways of doing that, basically. One is showing up at an event if you can, right? While you may not have that much money, can you get gas money or hung out with a friend and show up at one of my events when I'm in your county and just sit in a chair? And if you're going to buy a soda from the local place, right? If you can do that. And some people can. And I have seen many fathers show up with their family on family day and just show up and be like, hey, you know what? I'm here. I bought a soda. I'm going to show up at your event. That does matter, because the more people who show up, the better. But more importantly, when a father who's been hammered in the family court system actually has a conversation with other supporters who don't know this, it opens their eyes, right? And the sad part is most dads who've been through this, you know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but for other people who may be watching, when they first go through this, they can't believe it. And they actually think they're the only one getting hammered. And they think it's just them. And they feel alone. And they feel lost. And they feel like, they're the bad guy is what they feel like. When you come to an event where people who haven't gone through this go, holy crap, this is terrible. Oh my God, you're not a bad guy. It gives you some hope. It gives you something. You go, you know what? There are other people out there who don't think I'm crazy. Okay, good. And I will tell their story. You hear me saying it now. I will tell the story of what's happening. Someone else will tell your story who hasn't been through it, and it will help you. And it will also help other people who care about you. So it does matter. So you can show up. Or just when you're online, do the like and the comment and the share. You got a phone, click the like button and go back to work. But that clicking of the like, that sharing, that retweeting, and I'm telling you, if you're on right now and you're watching this show, listen to the show, and you're not clicking the like button and you're not doing the comment right now and you're not sharing, what's wrong with you? Do it right now. You can, it's free, and it helps to get other people to know it, and it gets us to grow this movement, this idea. Now that's piece one.
Go ahead. Keep going.
The other piece is you can vote for me. That would really help. And the sad part is, both times when I ran, the father's rights movement did not show up on the polls for me. They went back to their left-right paradigm, hoping that, no, this is the time, this is the chance. I don't mean to be mean to you, but I want to be forward to you. Nobody in the establishment cares about you. They make money off of you. You are a way for them to make money. They virtue signal against you if they're on the left, and they yell at you if they're on the right. They're not going to help you. They would have helped you already. The only guy in New York State who actually wanted to do something was years ago. That's Elliot Spitzer. Elliot Spitzer, before he got in trouble in New York State, he actually wanted to reform family court. And I went to him, to his model. I looked at it to see how I could fix mine. And I told, I have a 3-point plan to actually fix it.
Yep.
And the first piece in family court, for most of you who are listening, if you don't know this, if you lie in family court, it is not treated as perjury. And that's the number one issue of all there are many problems. That isn't the only problem. There are many of them. But one of you have to fix a core problem is if you lie in court, it's not treated as perjury. Maybe you'll get, I don't know, contempt of court if you're the father. Maybe. But that's it. You're not going to get perjury. And imagine, and why is that so important? Because as you know, when you get into that court system, the lawyers, they're not on your side. They say they are, but they're not. For the lawyers in the system, you are simply a tool to make money. So the lawyers look at you and go, look, Eric, I care about you. So let's check out all your finances. We'll get it to the lawyer, blah, blah. They put up all your finances and find out that, oh, Eric has about $40,000 that he could probably get a hold of and spend. Awesome. Guess how much your case costs? $40,000. What a coincidence that your case costs exactly how much money you have. That is a common thing that happens all the time. Both lawyers know it. They're in cahoots with each other, and they just spend. But not just that. As the money goes to the court in New York State, I don't know in other states, but in New York State, the state takes a cut like a credit card company. So as you're paying through the state gets a cut. So the state makes money off of your misery. The state makes money off of your misery. So why would they stop? Why would a judge stop if he can make money off your misery? Now, why does that matter? Because they need to make sure that when you get into what a lawyer will tell, particularly the mom, sometimes the dad too, particularly the mom, here's what they'll say. Hey, I'm not saying he hit you. All I'm saying is, if you say he hit you, you'll probably get the kids. That's what a lawyer does. The lawyer does not say to lie. The lawyer says, if this is true, you will get a benefit. I've watched this actually happen. And the woman goes, oh, is that right? Can I get in trouble? He goes, no. So she then lies. Well, since it's not perjury, he doesn't get in trouble. Not just that, she can now bring in mom or dad who always hated you. Now her mom or dad comes and goes, yeah, I saw, whatever. Then it's 3 months later. Proof, you never hit her. You never touched her. They were lying. Her punishment is nothing. The parents' punishment is nothing. The judge's punishment is nothing. You just literally lost your friendship. You got hammered in your social life. You have been trashed. You might have lost your job. You might have gone to jail for nothing. And there is no recompense whatsoever. Change one thing. Make lying in that court perjury. Now the attorney can't do that anymore. If the attorney tells you to do so, they have now just assisted in a felony. They will lose their license. You do that one time, you will see that the lawyers stop. They will stop encouraging you to lie. Not just that. If mom knows if she comes in and lies, she might go to jail for 30 days. She's not lying for her daughter anymore. That changes. All of the lying goes away by just saying it's perjury. That's a felony. You're going to jail if you do it. And attorney, you're losing your license. Why is the lying so bad? You might go, well, Larry, it's two adults yelling at each other. Who cares? The lying is terrible because the kids watch it. The kids see mom and dad, who was their image of a relationship, who was their image of motherhood and fatherhood, who was their image of being a good husband and a good wife, go from loving each other in their minds and loving their children to being vitriolic liars. Because once mom starts lying, dad has to lie in defense. So now dad's lying too. And the kids know it's all BS. So they watch everything collapse. You wonder why the kids have anxiety. Why do the kids on drugs? Why do the kids not want to get married? Why can't the kids do anything? Why do the kids want to escape the TikTok? Why do the kids want to escape online? Well, I wouldn't want to be in my household either if everything I thought was real has been crushed publicly. Of course, this is a critical piece that we have to change. Plus, now everyone's vitriolic. No families can stay together. So that's the first piece is perjury, but there is more. Second, do you want to touch that, or should I go to number 2?
Oh man, there was a lot, and you're spitting truth. I was sitting there in the comments. I said, "You guys see why I like having Larry on the show? I can sit back and drink coffee. You get it, man.
Yes.
You get it." And so our movement, if I can, Larry, and you know, I want to talk about this because the only way to get change is to talk about where we went wrong. I think this movement has been completely trained wrong. They haven't been told the truth, and you are spitting out the truth right now, and it's what they need to hear. Guys, perjury right now is one of the number one things. Our movement has been so caught up in, we need 50-50 shared parenting. And I believe in 50-50 shared parenting.
Yep.
50-50 shared parenting without consequences for false allegations just makes more false allegations. That's
why I focus on perjury. Yes, you're right. And I want to be clear. I said up front, there are many issues, but the core has got to be that one first. Otherwise, all the rest don't matter. That's why you're totally. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to do it. Amen. You're totally correct.
I love it. Let's get on to number 2.
The number 2 piece is right now the courts, the judges, their goal is financial support. That's their goal. Now, financial support, it does matter. Of course, I don't want to say money isn't important. It is important. But the number one goal should always be when it comes to children is children with kin. That should be the judge should be, it should be in writing. If you are in a family court, your priority with children, priority is family with kin. So why do I say that? Because now you know this. There's an allegation against the dad, right? So now the dad, but the mother is also bad. They're both bad in this case, right? But the dad has some allegations. So you could give the kid to the uncle. It's the dad's brother. The judge won't because, oh, no, you might go see your dad. Think about the stupidity of that. Literally, the judge says, oh, I don't want to give this kid to his uncle, who is his family, who loves him, because there's a chance the kid might see his dad. That's the logic of a judge. Wow, is that stupid? Is there a chance the dad's a bad guy? Yes. Is there a chance the mom's a bad guy? Yes, of course there's a chance. But here's what I know for sure. Putting your kids in the system statistically is always worse. Always worse. The odds are against the child who goes into a system. The odds are for a child if you put them with kin. Not just that. Why would you shake up that kid? Focus on the time with kin, because that will shift into money. Because right now what happens is they tell the dad, you at one point in your life made $90,000 a year. So therefore you have to pay based upon $90,000 a year. Okay, great. Now the dad goes, yeah, but I lost my job, or I got fired, or the lockdowns came and now I can't make money. So what am I going to do? Judge says you have to pay anyway, but I can't. You have to pay anyway. But now so I have to get a second job. Well, then get a second job. So now you'll spend no time with your kids. And when your kid does see you, you now have to live in the basement of your mom because you can't afford rent. So now your son or daughter has to see their father, who they thought was freaking Superman 2 years ago. Now he's broken in his mom's basement. How does it make that kid feel? How does it make that child feel and grow up? And the judge does not care at all.
I got a story that just showed up in the comments when you started talking. One of these gentlemen, and that is his story exactly.
Yep.
I won't say his name. The guy made $250,000 one year, and that was unusual because he got a really big bonus. He usually makes around 125 or 150. They base his child support and alimony off of that to the tune, made $250,000 that year, makes around 150 a year. After his child support and alimony was coming out, he was getting $25 a payday. This is a hardworking citizen that is going there, that wants to be a dad, wants to be in his kids' lives, but he's paying all of his money just to become a visitor inside of his children's life. How in any way, shape, form, or fashion can this be the best interest of the child?
It isn't. And here's the worst part. What if he had said, I'm not divorcing you. I'll just stay married. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to stay married and not have a job. I'm going to live in your basement. What's his punishment? Nothing. So if you are a deadbeat, if you are an actual deadbeat and just don't get divorced, you're fine. There is literally no punishment. So you try to get your life on track by leaving and not having a toxic relationship with your spouse. You try to do the right thing for your family, and the state punishes you. But if you just stayed in your house and said, you know what? I don't like you. I'm mad at you. I'm going to yell at you every day. I'm not going to go to work. The kid's not going to have any shoes. The state goes, well done. Good job. Good job. How in the world can the state order you to pay when if you were married, you would not have to pay? Does that make any sense?
Oh, it
None.
makes a lot of sense.
What
you're saying makes sense.
Yes. So now I'll go further, though, because now when your kid goes to college, the court will force you to pay for your kid who's 19, 20, 21, 22. How in the world can a court force you to pay for an adult? How is it even constitutional? How is it even legal? The person is literally an adult. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't pay for your kid's college. But again, if you stayed married, do you have to pay for your kid's college? No. Would you? You probably would if you love your kid and have cash. You probably would, right? But that's up to a parent. But if you just because you get divorced, now you must by law pay for your kid's college? Again, not that you shouldn't pay for your kid's college, but how can the court force you to? This is unconstitutional. It is completely illegal and wrong, yet they get away with it without any question, because all that matters is money coming through the system. Follow the money. As long as you're paying, the state's making money. This is how the judges get paid. This is literally admiralty courts from back in the 1700s. This is something we fought a war against, and we still do it. So we have to break this entire system, because then it comes to the next piece, which goes on top of this, which is, okay, you don't pay, so I got to punish you. So how do I punish you? I put you in jail. Holy crap, is that stupid? So now the judge goes, well, I'll teach that dad. I'll put him in jail. So now my son or daughter has to watch their dad, who 3 years ago they thought was Superman, do a perp walk. So they can put him in jail. And then how are you going to keep your job when you're in jail? And then how are you going to get a job when you're arrested? How are you going to
still racking up?
And they don't have to, and they still rack up. They don't care. Why? Yep. Because remember, the judge and the state, they're not there to help you. They are the mob. Don't think them anything but the mob. They are mafiosos. That's all they are. They think they're thinking better. They're not. So literally they put you, like Wanda says, into slavery. Thank you, Wanda. Well done. Right into slavery. And you must keep paying. Now, here's the best part. Well, if you don't do that, I'll take away your license. Well, how are you going to drive to work? What idiot judge thought that was good? And I've said it right to judges. What idiot judge thought that was a good idea? Some judge said,
they did it on purpose, because that forces you to go into that system. They don't want you to try to get away from that system.
Correct. Absolutely. Or I'll take away your professional license. What idiot judge thought that was a good idea? And again, how is that even constitutional or legal? How can the state take away a professional license when you have not broken your professional rules or guidelines? How is this legal? It isn't. But we do it because family court is invisible, right? It's invisible.
Yep.
Which is what I was talking about. One of the things we have to do, which is we have to create a rating system for judges, which is outside, which is if the judge is too high to a certain point of man or woman, that judge is by default no longer unbiased and cannot be a family court judge. If one side is going, that's done. So I'm still not done. Family court is still court, which means anyone can view it, which means with the exception of minors, with the exception of children who are minors, everything should be public and recorded and online. Everything.
Absolutely.
If you want it, because the problem is the judges have literally the judges are tyrants and they have no recourse, not social recourse, nothing. They are horrible tyrants. And they do, and not just go, you know what, Eric, I don't like how you look today. I'm going to take away your children. And literally there's nothing you can do. And if you say anything, they'll put you in jail. Now, let that go online. Let that go viral. Let that judge have to now look at their own people around them and own society and go, wow, judge, you're an ass. You're a terrible human being, man. I saw you crush that guy, Eric, for nothing. You're a terrible person. Let his peer group tell him that. That begins to happen. You'll watch better judges. You have to change the
Absolutely, man.
culture.
Larry, so I noticed, I saw you posted about this show today, so it looks like we got some fellow libertarians in here. But, much like a lot of these guys that end up going through the system, they don't know what they know now until they're going through it, right? So they hear you say something about the government's making money off of these guys going through family court. A lot of people don't know about Title 4D or Section 8 and all these other incentives, the CPS incentives. Could you explain to them some of those incentives so that they can understand what we're talking about?
I'll give you the two big ones. The federal government literally gives money to the state for taking children away. So the federal government makes cash. So they take kids, they get cash. Well, do they actually do a better job with the kids? The statistics would say no, they don't. So that money is not going to the kids. I mean, in theory it is. It's not. It's going to administrators, bloated bureaucracies, government jobs, handouts, the general fund. It's going to all those things. So because of that, that becomes part of the budget. So literally, taking kids becomes part of a state budget. And I know people, your minds being blown. This is reality. Taking children is a budget line item. So if they don't take enough children, then the budget doesn't get enough money. This is just like, imagine cops having to get parking tickets, right?
Yep.
Well, why aren't you getting tickets? Well, people aren't speeding. We better load a speed limit. We got a budget to fill. I'm not joking. That happens.
Yes.
So let's take the speed limit from 30 to 25, make some speed traps. We got a budget. So they're literally at some state level going, how come we aren't taking kids? We got a budget to fill, guy. Take some kids. Think about how horrible that is. But that's piece one for your children. Well, if you don't have kids, doesn't matter. Every time if you notice now, you don't give a check directly to the mom anymore, right? You don't write the check to the mom anymore. Now it goes to the state. The state takes the money to monitor, to help you because the state cares about you. Well, there's an admin fee for that, which means the state now basically is a credit card company. It's taking a percentage of the dollars you put to the state, and that goes in the budget. That's now a budget line item. So wait a minute, we don't have enough money. Well, you better start getting guys to pay more money, or we got a budget. So literally, your misery is part of the budget of New York State, and I'm sure it's other states too. I know New York very well, but I'm sure it's other states, right? So that's happening. And you think, well, the judge has to care, or the system has to care about my kids. The system does not care about you or your kids at all.
Money.
At all. And you might think that's mean. It's not mean. It's apathetic. And there's a difference. The system isn't trying to hurt you. It just doesn't care at all. If you accept that as true, change the system to where the incentives are positive and you will get positive outcomes. The system doesn't care, right? It's not like it's a mean system, burn it down. The system's neutral. Fix the system, better outcomes, which is why I'm talking about how you fix the system. Judges are responding to incentives. Every judge isn't just a bad person. I mean, some really are, but the system sets them up to be tyrants. So they are, right? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and they have absolute power. Take that power away with a rating system and now being able to be shown publicly. The power goes away, the tyrants go away. Better system, better outcomes, right? Perjury, lying has become the norm. Well, make lying punishable. People will stop lying. Change the system, better outcomes, right? Make the key about the kids, excuse me, going with the parents. Make that the number one thing so that now a judge will be asked, why didn't you put the kid with kin? Well, I was worried. What's your priority in writing? Your priority in writing is kid with kin. Do so. Not just that. Cap how much money any state can get from any government money that comes in. Cap it. Right? So say, I'm making it up. Say the a local municipality or a state can only get several $1,000s from any of the money coming in from the credit card. Right? That's it. So there's now no incentive to go any higher. Take your admin fee to run it, whatever the thing is, but you cap it. So there's no incentive to keep hammering people because that money now has to go back to the people or back to something else, or you give it back to the mom or the dad. So now that's more work for the system. The system doesn't want that. The system only wants that max. That's it. So you cap it. You cap what comes from the federal government. Yeah, you can take money from the federal government to help run the CBS program. It's capped at this. No incentive. If there's no incentive, the system will change. This is how you actually change the system to make it better and fairer for everybody.
So that's not just talking about the problem, that's offering some solutions. And dude, I am loving it. But Larry, you went through a lot of challenges, not just from getting support from our guys doing this, but
Yes.
somebody brought a comment in here that really disturbed me. I didn't know about. That libertarian lady said the local duopoly in New York sued Larry Sharpe off the ballot. Absolutely disgusting. They sued you off the ballot?
Correct. Yes. The problem is I was actually making impact, right? I was actually polling last December of 2021, before I even announced for 2022, I was polling at 6%. That's massive for someone who hasn't even announced, and I'm an independent candidate. That's how popular I was across state. 6% is huge. Imagine some guy in a state polling at 6%. That's who I am. I'm some guy. So that was massive. The establishment saw that and got scared. The Democrats weren't concerned because New York State is a deep blue state. We are almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican. We have a terrible governor, and our state's broken, and she still won by 7 points. Did not matter. And she ran a terrible campaign and did not matter, right? Because she was going to win. So that was true. With that in mind, the Republicans got scared and said, wait a minute, we can't have Larry Sharpe come in second and beat us. So we have to stop him. So a bunch of smaller parties talked to me and basically lied to me and told me, well, we'll support you. And then at the last minute turned away. And the Republican Party then sued me in civil court to ensure that I would be thrown off the ballot. So I would not be on the ballot. We actually had 9 total, if you count, we went to state and federal court, 9 total hearings / appeals. We lost all 9. The court system literally said, nah, you can't be on. Sorry. Now, to be clear about this, so you might go, well, Larry, didn't you just not make the rules? Here's what happened, just so you're clear. I won't be too crazy. In 2018, I'd gotten what's called ballot access or party status for Libertarian Party, which means you can be on the ballot, meaning you have a choice of writing me. You'll see me on the ballot. You can check a box. Doesn't mean you have to vote for me. Just means I'm available to be voted for. That's all it is. I'm on the ballot. In 2020, they changed all the rules. Just said, no, you can't do it anymore. No. Now you have to have, you used to have to get 15,000 signatures. Now you have to get 45,000, tripling the number of signatures, just because we said so. Not just that. Even though you had it before, it's not for 4 years. Now it's just for 2. We're cutting it in the middle of it. So imagine if all of a sudden you were renting my garage for storage for $200 a month, and all of a sudden 2 weeks in, I go, oh, by the way, it's now $600. Pay now or I'm throwing you out. That's what they did. I'm not saying a state can't change the rules. A state can, but you should change the rules at the end of the next cycle, so the person's a chance to get the next rules. They changed the rules before I could be on the ballot to even get the rules changed. If that makes any sense. So I lost ballot access. I couldn't be on the ballot. And I would ask you, what is the harm of me being on a ballot? There's no harm, but they didn't want me on the ballot. So they changed those rules. Of course, we couldn't make them. So we lost the ability to be on the ballot. So I had to try again. But now the 45,000 piece, they went from 15,000 to 45,000, but then they moved the time. The time used to be 6 weeks in the summer, which when there's people are out, there's fairs, they moved it to the spring to where in New York State, we still have snowstorms. So snowstorm weeks, 6 weeks to get 45,000 signatures. You've got to get at least, because you got to get more than 45,000, because they literally send people in, I'm not joking, to check every signature so they can throw the signatures off. So you have to get extra signatures to make sure you're right. So it's at least in 6 weeks, you got to get at least probably 10,000 signatures a week, 2,000 a day. A very good signature gatherer will get 100 a day. And that's someone who's amazing. The average person will get maybe 20 per day. So say I average 40. I need an army of people for 6 weeks in a row, working 8 hours a day to get that amount of signatures. If I don't do it, I have to pay at least, I had to pay $300,000 to do this. What independent candidate can raise that kind of money? Luckily, I can, but nobody else can. It is impossible. So our argument was, it's unfair. You cut us off. You didn't give us a full opportunity. And the judges said, we don't care at all. Don't care. Don't care. No. But I'm not even done. My next argument was, it's impossible. It cannot be done. You have literally destroyed all third parties in this state. It cannot be done. They went, of course it can. It's easily be done. Then 3 people tried it. Me, couldn't do it. Literally a sitting congressman, couldn't do it. Literally a multimillionaire worth over $40 million, couldn't do it. This was the first time in 80 years that New York State did not have an independent governor candidate. The first time in 80 years. So once everyone failed, I resued, saying, look, I was right. Look, I was right. No one made it. Here's the evidence. A sitting congressman couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. A multimillionaire couldn't do it. And no one's on the ballot. So I'm right. And they went, yeah, but no. They did not care. The judges did not care. They were all statists. They cared about the system. They wanted to make sure I was removed. So they and the Republicans went out of their way. They didn't just push me off at the BOE because the Board of Elections has a duty to try to give me a hearing so that I could get over this and get back on the ballot, because I was actually on the ballot officially. I was officially on the ballot. They sued me in civil court to have judges force the BOE to take me off the ballot in case the BOE wanted to put me on the ballot. They spent tens of thousands of dollars of you Republican and conservative people who put your money into the Republican Party to throw me off the ballot to ensure there was no choice. And I went to the judges. I actually did pro se part of it so I could speak to the judges, because when I would show up to court, the judges wouldn't let me speak for no reason. Just go, no, you can't speak. I drove 6 hours to this podunk courthouse, and so I'm here, and I'm the guy, right? I know the most here. I've been through this. Just no respect, no nothing, not caring, just no. In fact, when they would respond to what I said, they would literally lie in the response, and it would matter. One judge, Judge David Weinstein out of Albany, when he responded, he said, Larry Sharpe never made a constitutional argument. Literally in writing, I said constitutional argument. Literally in my oral statement, which is recorded, I literally made a constitutional argument. He's blatantly lying. Again, judges, no consequences. None. Nobody cared.
Man, this is so similar to family court. You know, they've created this system. Take your license, put you in jail. You got to go through it or you can't see your kids. And they know most of the time the dads aren't going to be able to organize because they're at work. They're slaves to that system. So they can't organize. Well, I want you to listen to what Larry's going through in the politics right here, guys. They do this, and we're going up against the same establishment. We really are. These are political gangs. Yeah. I'm telling you, they are political gangs. I would love to abolish all political parties if it was up to me. But
yes, I'm with you. I would.
They want to make you think that you have no hope and that it will never be done. And unfortunately, when the goals are set so high, a lot of people believe that. But you still got out there and you're still fighting, Larry, which is why I have so much respect for you guys.
Thank you,
the ones that want to do the right thing are going to be the ones that have to fight the hardest. And I would want that person that's fighting hard for this, fighting for my state. I mean, what's some of the things that you got coming up, man? Are you gonna run again? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's been a while since I talked to you.
Yeah, no, I am really getting it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep doing what I'm doing. I keep telling people, I keep trying to get my ideas out. I want more people here because most people, sadly, look, if you're a dad who's been hammered in family court, you don't want to tell people about it. It doesn't feel good, right? Who wants to tell people? It feels terrible. And then what if someone doesn't have sympathy for you and goes, oh, no, you're one of those bad guys. I didn't believe the first guy I heard. And that's why I say this, not to insult brothers. I'm not saying it for that. I'm saying understand that you're going to have to tell somebody multiple times. They don't want to believe the system is that bad. When I tell people the political system, they can't believe it. Like they don't believe the story. I'm like, yes, this is all public knowledge. You can go check it. The transcripts are publicly available, right, on what happened. But people don't want to believe it. So I have to just keep doing this. When you reached out to me, I immediately said yes, didn't I?
Yes, you sure did.
Immediately. I got to keep doing this, getting out more as I possibly can. Do I think I'm the guy to change the world? No. Do I think I'm the guy who's going to spur that change? Yes. I do think I can be the guy to spur the guy or gal who makes something big happen. I'm hoping that years from now, someone's like, you know what? That big thing I did, that's because I heard Larry Sharpe on Dad Talk. You know, I mean, that's what I want to hear, right? I hope that happens, right? I made a step up because I heard this Larry Sharpe yell some crazy stuff, and Eric was all mad at him, and it was all good, right? So I mean, that's what I hope happens. So that's why I don't stop. Will I run again? Maybe, but to be forward, it's difficult, right? I take a year out of my life. It's stress on my family. When I run, I don't work, right? I'm a consultant, so I work for myself. When I'm driving 6 hours to court, I'm not making money, right? Now I have a wife and 2 kids, so it's difficult. So I have to spend time out of my life doing it. It's challenging, which is why I only run every 4 years. I worked for 3 years to pay for the last one. All right, so yes, it's very challenging to do. So I will try, but I don't know if I can again before with you. But I will definitely be moving forward with the movement no matter what. I'm helping no matter what. I'm still yapping no matter what. Will I run again? Who knows?
Dude, we need people like you. I'll be honest, Larry, as I'm hearing your challenge in politics, sounds like what I'm going through here, trying to fight for these guys in family court. There are so many people that think there's no hope. And I've been criticized before. Like, why would you even go to a libertarian event? Libertarians aren't going to win, because if you listen to these guys, they are exactly what we need. And if you just lay down and you want to take it, you can. But the fact that you said, do I believe that I can change it there? Yes, dude, if we could take over one state as a libertarian governor, that would make a huge statement. It would tell
100%.
people it can be done. And I would suggest that this movement really get behind these guys. I'll be honest with you, Larry, when I was going all over the country, you know how it is when you're interviewing people. A lot of times I was conducting the interviews and I didn't have time to sink it in because I was sitting down 5 minutes later with somebody else.
Right.
And I was going back through all these interviews that I did, you know, the politicians, and I came across yours and Spike Cohen's. And I was like, why is this not getting more traction? What is holding the Libertarian Party back from getting where it needs to be, Larry?
Yeah, there's a lot to be forward. We have made errors as a party ourselves. I wish we could just blame the system. It is the system's fault too, and it's also ours, right? It's hard. What you just said is our biggest issue. Why are you backing libertarians? They can't win. Here's the issue. We don't have to win. And you really, if you're a Republican or Democrat right now listening and going, well, they can't win, that isn't the point. If your Democrat or Republican wins, nothing will change.
No.
History has shown that. They will win and ignore you. They will lie to you. They will virtue signal, and then nothing will change. But imagine, I lose last year, but imagine if I had got 20% of the vote and lost. 20% in New York State, a state of about 18 million people. I got 20% of that state. Are you telling me there wouldn't be CNN, Fox News, MSNBC want to talk to me? Wouldn't I be on all the biggest shows that there are? Of course I would. And now I'm telling your story to a bigger audience. Isn't that a win? And now I'm embarrassing judges. Isn't that a win? The Republicans aren't going to do that. Neither are Democrats. Doesn't matter if they win or not. Well, I got to vote for a guy who could win. Why? One, he's not going to win if it's in a gerrymandered state. You just don't. Every Republican who voted for the Republican governor in New York State literally threw their vote in the garbage. Literally. If you gave money to the Republican in New York State, every state's different, obviously. If you gave money to the New York State Republican governor race or time, you threw your time and money in the garbage. That's what you did. You wasted it. But imagine if you're taking that same time, energy, and money and put it into my campaign. Imagine who I'd be talking to now. You would have actually invested in someone who gives a crap. That's what you would have done. Yeah, Larry can't win, but Larry doesn't shut up. I got my ass kicked last year and I'm still here. Where are all your Republicans and Democrats who promised they would help the family? Where are they? In their cushy jobs, having a great time. They don't care. They don't care. So, yes, in many cases, you're right, we can't win. But can we make impact? Yes. Here's the next piece. Once you start, libertarians start getting enough of a percentage, whatever that percentage is. We saw it in Georgia. There was a recount because of libertarians, right? This happens. Once we get a certain percentage, they have to listen to us because we take away their ability to win. They don't care about you or me. They care about winning. So if I affect their ability to win, they will listen to me. Imagine, again, if I got 20% of the vote, that affects the election now. So now they have to listen to me. I'll go to the next piece, though. What's debate stage? What's that all about? People go, well, Larry, you're getting debate stage. Libertarians can't debate stage. Debate stage is about ad revenue. It's not about whether they care about you. If people want to see you, even Kanye, crazy Kanye West, even him, if he had run an actual campaign, he didn't in 2020. If he'd run a real campaign, would he have been in a debate stage? Of course he would have. Because Eric, you would have watched that debate, and so would I. And so if you're listening, you would have watched that debate. And CNN knows that. They don't, so they've been like, you're in debate stage. Without question, it's about ad revenue. You would have watched it to charge tons of money for their ads. So if I'm more popular, or Spike is more popular, or libertarians are more popular, even if we don't win, we get on that debate stage. And now we're talking about your issues to more people. So please stop this. They can't win. So I'll keep doing the same stupid crap I've been doing for 20 years and getting my ass kicked. Stop it. Support the people who support you, and they will be the mouthpiece that you need.
Man, and I just don't know how this message isn't resonating with more people in our country right now. Because when you see these fake actors that we got in office right now, guys, something's got to change. And the only thing that is keeping this world from getting the change, where it's the family courts, politics, or whatever, is us. That is the only thing that's keeping us from getting change. If we really wanted it, we could have it. But too many people don't have that hope, and they say, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. You don't want to vote for evil at all. Let's make other solutions, guys. Let's make other solutions. I got a comment from Mr. Dwayne Ward here. He said, as a politician, what do you think advocates like us can do to make the largest impact, aside from actually showing up and supporting pro advocates?
You know, it's very difficult, right? He's right. The system is against you. You have to find the people who are in the right position to go up against the Goliaths, right? Whoever those people are, whether they happen to be wealthy, or whether they happen to be popular, or they happen to be famous. You have to get behind those people. I wish it wasn't true, but the individual at a local level is just going to be crushed by the machine. I wish I was wrong, but unless you can, again, make a massive amount of people getting together. But even that, if you don't make the next step, which is get an executive, get a candidate, get a business person, get a personality to say something, right? Imagine if we can get someone like a Joe Rogan to talk about this.
Well, I want to talk to you when we get off the show just for a few minutes. I'm actually was typing that to you right now. I'd like to discuss that with you.
So yeah, if we can get someone like that to have that kind of conversation. And why was I on Joe Rogan in 2018 and not in 2022? I wasn't on the ballot. That's the reason. I would have been on last year. I wasn't on the ballot. Why was I on Glenn Beck in 2018 and not 2022? I wasn't on the ballot. Why? And here's it's gonna sound terrible. People, if you're not on the ballot, people feel like you're not legitimate. I know that sounds terrible, but they just do. I saw it happen. I saw my donations dry up. I saw all my press dry up the second I was thrown off the ballot. It all went away. So I have to get on that ballot so that the heavy hitters will hear me and put me on so I can talk about these issues. That's the issue. I have to be able to do that. If I can't be on a ballot, I have to be popular enough that it makes sense. That people who go, you know what, that guy's popular. I want him on my show. And then I'll go and I'll be able to say more. That's really the issue. I wish there was a better answer, but that's really it. The answer is getting more people to care. Most people don't care. They don't think this is a problem. And that's the last piece of my program is understanding that family court is not the kids' table. And in most states, New York specifically, family court's the secondary court, the kids' table. No one wants to be there. They're more worried about civil court. No, they're worried about criminal court, right? That's the sexy court, right? And my point is, family court, to your earlier point, Eric, is the most important court of all the courts. If we have better families, we will have less criminals. If we have better families, we'll have less civil court discourse. We will have a better society if we have better families. If you fix family court, you'll have less burden in the other two courts. What is every prison full of? Fatherless kids. Every prison in this country is filled with young men who didn't have their father in their life. That's what they're filled with. Family court is not helping. Now, I lost my father when I was 12 when I lost my dad. I didn't have a dad in my life when I was a teenager. One of the reasons why I joined the Marine Corps at 17 is desperately searching for positive male role models. I didn't know it then. As I look back, I know that's what I was doing. I was desperately looking for positive male role models. I didn't have a dad. I would have taken a broke dad over no dad any day of the week. I'd have taken a broke dad over I would have taken a dad who could only buy me ice cream on one day a week than no dad. I would have taken a dad who had to take me to work because he couldn't afford childcare over no dad. If I have a choice, I had no dad. I would have taken any dad over no dad. And the state is taking away dads who care. And that's the worst part. If the judge sees a dad fighting for the kid, shouldn't that tell the judge the dad cares about the kid? So why would you get rid of that dad? There are deadbeat dads that don't care about their kids. Those dads exist. Absolutely. Well,
And
that
moms.
dad, and moms themselves, yes, I'm talking about dads, but yes, there's crappy moms too. Don't get me wrong. They exist. Absolutely. But if the dad is not going to hell with my kids, I'm moving to Texas. If he's not doing that, he probably cares about his kid. Why wouldn't you want that kid to be with that dad to be with his kid? I think from my personal experience, that kid would like to have that dad, as imperfect as that dad is, because all dads are imperfect. I'm an imperfect dad. You're an imperfect dad. We're all imperfect.
Yep.
But our kids don't need perfect dads. Our kids need dads. Period. They need dads. Imperfect, whatever. Broken. They need dads. Clear. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Our prisons are filled with young men who did not have fathers in their lives. That right there should be telling you we have a problem, and family court's not helping.
I'm with you, man. And I think one of the more unpopular conversations in talking about this, it's something that affects the Libertarian Party, it affects this movement, is funding. We know a lot of the guys that want to do the right thing, they're not the ones with the major corporations and stuff that keeps this, cycle going. But there has got to be some way that if our people organized, that they could help get the funding so that we can make the difference. And that's something that I've been trying to scratch my head about for a long time. We need media.
Tell you right now, we can. Give us some of those ideas, Larry. This is how you do it. Every single person get together, watch this show, monetize it. You'll get a bunch of money from YouTube.
I'm with you.
Done. It's that simple, guys. Just watch this damn show. You don't like Eric, you hate his beard? Fine. Put it on the background and go do something else. I don't care. Watch his show. Give him the views. Click a like and then go make dinner. Whatever. Put him on doing work. Whatever. Watch shows like this. Watch my show. Just watch. And if you don't like it, put it on and walk away. Get those views up so we can break the algorithms and we'll make money from YouTube. You don't have to pay. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of dads just in New York State have been hammered by this? All of them have a cell phone. 90% of them have a computer. You tell me you can't go on 10 o'clock in the morning, click on Dad Talk Today, turn it on, watch it while you're doing something else? You can't do that? You can't tell your friends to do that? Yeah, you can. So stop doing other garbage and do that. Just do it. The more you do it, YouTube will pay. You get money. You make tons of money on this. What are you going to do? You're going to advertise this everywhere. You're going to support candidates that help you out. That's what this is clearly part of your life. If you get money, you will throw money at it. It's part of mine. If I get money, I will throw money at it. And if you don't have it, I get it. You don't have it. YouTube has it. So does Facebook. So does Twitter. And YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook don't care about us, good or bad. They're apathetic. If we change the system, they will give us money. Not because they love us, but because people are watching the shows. So watch the shows, get the money from them, and let's move forward.
So, guys, I'll be shaving the beard before too long. I was just going through a little bit of a season. So if you don't like it, just hang in there. But no, Larry's telling the truth. This is one of the things that people don't understand. Like, Here on Facebook, we have 500,000 followers. Why isn't 500,000 people watching right now? There's several different reasons. One, you're not ringing the bell. You need to get the notification because they're not going to tell you that we're live unless you are dinging that bell. Make sure to do it on YouTube. But every time you like and you comment and you share, the algorithm starts opening up and says, hey, this content is relevant. It's not just a page with content people don't want to see. They start showing it to all of our followers. So we have the followers, but it's up to the ones that are watching us to make sure that they're getting active on here. And once we get numbers and we get that monetization, that'll be money that's coming from other places that we can put back into it. This doesn't make me much money. I'm still here, just like Larry. We're both fighting something because we believe in it. And I would ask everybody that's watching this show right now, make sure you go to Larry's page and do the same thing. I want you to like, I want you to share, I want you to comment. And if he needs help, get him some help because he's fighting the fight. Did he say anything on here that sounded like a politician today? No, but he gets overruled by the politicians because they got the money, and those people are doing that. They can outspend, they can out advertise and everything. And the only thing, again, that change needs to happen is for us to start showing up.
Yes.
It's that simple.
We can show up. We can show up. And again, I know you're at work or you're at school or something. You can put Dad Talk on and just leave it on. You can and click that like and put a comment. Hey, I love the show. Whatever you can do. I'm not asking too much of you. I may be asking too much to give you to give Eric $100 a month. That's probably too much. I'm asking. I mean, if you can do that, please do that. But if you can't, no worries. You can, no matter what. Show up, put it on, click a like, and go on with your day. You can do that every single time he's on.
If that establishment sees us growing, they see the funding and everything coming, and you guys are here, they're going to get scared. And let me tell you something. That is not something where they just say, oh, we're scared, we're going to sit back. They're going to fight this even harder. That's just what happens. I mean, look at that with Larry. It was 15,000 signatures. It goes to 45,000 signatures. Larry, I guarantee if you can get 45,000 signatures, you're going to make it go up to 60. Then it's going to go to 75. They're going to do everything they can to make sure the voices that actually want to do something are fought in every single way they can. Libertarian Party, I would tell you, come in here and help us, and we need to be helping them as well. We need the government out of our lives more than ever. The fact that the government got involved in marriage in the first place is where it went wrong. They don't belong inside of our families. They do not belong inside of our families one bit whatsoever. We are getting here near the hour mark though. And dude, we got to have you back on again sometime soon. I enjoyed this so much. Larry, tell everybody what you're up to and how they can keep up with what you're doing.
Yes, if you want to check me out, you can see if you're watching, I have my Sharpe Way posted behind me. If you're just listening, you can check me out on the Sharpe Way. I'm on the Sharpe Way YouTube, Facebook, also Twitter, Twitch, all the things, 100%. Or if you want to check me out at Larry Sharpe, also Larry Sharpe. I'm on Larry Sharpe YouTube, Larry Sharpe Facebook, Larry Sharpe Twitter, all the things, all the things. Please follow me to the best of your ability. If you're interested and you want to see some of my stuff, click the subscribe button and click the notifications, all notifications if you want to hear my stuff. I go live almost every day, usually around 7 p.m. I have very interesting guests on 9 p.m. on Mondays. I have a radio show that I do out of New York State, Rochester, on Tuesdays at 1. So I'm very active. I probably put out at least 6 to 7 hours of live content every week.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure to support. And I don't know about you, but I would have loved to have seen Larry on stage debating the establishment candidates. I think you could have wiped the floor with him, brother.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. All right, guys. Thank you for everybody tuning in. We'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow and every day after that. We'll see you. Appreciate it, Larry.
All righty.
Hey, everybody. Eric Carroll here. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of Dad Talk Today. While we fight for you, we would ask for you to please help fight for us. Like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell so you get notifications every time we go live. There's also Super Chat, patreon.com/dadtalktoday, and other ways you can support our channel. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next.